If you expect any workers to respond to a chemical release, they may need training under OSHA's Hazardous Waste Operations and Emergency Response, or HAZWOPER regulation. The training needed depends on the type of release and the expected response. Even if someone just sounds an alarm before evacuating, that person needs HAZWOPER training. Employers typically provide training at one of the following levels. At the first responder awareness level, the person can recognize an emergency, but takes no action beyond notifying the authorities. This does not require a specific number of training hours, but it must cover several topics, including the ability to recognize an emergency. The first responder operations level requires 8 hours of training. These workers may try to contain the release from a safe distance. They might construct dikes, close valves outside the danger area, or activate emergency controls. However, they cannot attempt to stop the release. A hazardous materials technician requires 24 hours of training that includes the operations level material. A technician may approach the point of release and attempt to stop it. 2 other levels include the hazardous materials specialist and the on-scene incident commander. They would assist the technician, coordinate with outside responders, and assume control of the scene, among other duties. Not every chemical spill creates an emergency. An incidental spill does not pose a significant hazard to employees in the immediate area. It could be cleaned up by employees with hazard communication training. OSHA gives an example of workers repairing a small leak during routine maintenance. An emergency response generally involves employees outside the immediate area, and those responders need HAZWOPER training. A large release does not necessarily create an emergency. However, a relatively small release could be an emergency under the right or wrong conditions. Things like toxicity, volatility, or flammability also impact who can safely handle the release. Mitigating factors include the knowledge of the workers in the immediate area, the availability of personal protective equipment, and the employer's procedures for responding. Consider the chemicals at your facility and how you expect workers to respond. If all workers evacuate, they don't need HAZWOPER training. However, if you have the potential for an emergency release, you might want someone who can recognize the situation and notify authorities. That person would need awareness level training.